Spike Jones, Stan Freberg, Alan Sherman, Monty Python, Shel Silverstein, and Weird Al Yankovic have in common? Why, it's me, Dr. D. And you can usually hear them every week on the Dr. Demento radio show. But tonight, through the magic of television, I'll be bringing a little of this land of dementia into your living room because, woo, wind up your televisions, Dementites and Dementoids. It's time for the Dr. Demento Show live on Comedy Tonight.
With tonight's guests, Taylor Negron, Uncle Floyd, Benny Bell, and Rick Aviles. Now, here's your host, Bill Bach.
Nice having my doctor here in the studio. Thanks. All right. Now, here's someone who's not a doctor. He doesn't play a doctor on TV, but he does in the operating room. This is Taylor Negron. Come on, Taylor.
Yay. Yay. Thank you. Thank you. What a nice audience. I feel very New York. I'm from Los Angeles. I feel very New York, very Alphabet City, very Fifth Avenue. I feel like an immigrant going to Ellis Island with a leather suitcase and America's bosom is open to receive. I feel very excited. I feel like a young, gifted Puerto Rican breakdancer on the verge of very great success. I really do. I feel very 212, very 718. I feel like I want to call Brooklyn and not care. I feel very good. I'm from California, Los Angeles, which is so boring it makes Buffalo seem like Berlin in the late 30s. I had a very, very, very boring childhood. I spent my entire adolescence laying on my brother's twin bed eating scooter pies going, I can't believe this is my life. My parents are originally from New York. They moved out to Los Angeles in '59 to be closer to the Dodgers. I was born and raised in Los Angeles. I remember when the palm trees were short and Tomorrowland was modern. It was very interesting. Very boring childhood, like I said. Our air conditioner was turned up to cryogenics. I was an unbelievably hideous nerd when I was a child. I was a nerd of almost epic proportion. My nerdosity went to the very magma of geekness. I was one of those kids that, like, in third period, used to come into the class pushing a projector, you know. I was an audio-visual nerd. You know, I have a hall pass. I can go anywhere, you know. I would show things like Canada, our neighbors to the north. But the very, very tragic, very hideoso thing of it all is that I was wearing, like, nerd clothes, you know, like nerd slacks. Nerd slacks are slacks that go to your rib and, like, crawl up your butt, you know. It's like very depressing. I had a headgear and a retainer on with a sandwich hanging right here. And the teacher would say, "You are such a nerd." It was very, very depressing. But I don't know. I wanted to be Greg Brady when I was a child. I just wanted to be Greg. He was like a real dude. Greg. I'm a dude. I had a very weird childhood. You see, I never recovered from when they changed Darren's on Bewitched. You know, it was very, very, very difficult for me. Dr. Bombay didn't say anything about it, and Dora didn't say anything about it, Tabitha didn't say anything about it. I thought I was living in a parallel universe, you know. I'd come home and I'd have a new dad, you know. I'd be like, Mom. It's like very, very weird. I don't know. But I do have the geek seal of approval, and I'll tell you that. I was on the dating game 17 times. I was. I won enough rice-a-roni to clog the San Francisco Bay. It's very, very true. I was wearing slacks and a dickie and clogs and Jade East, and the Bachelorettes are so goyim on that show, I gotta tell you right now. They are so goyim that these people think a kibbutz is at the end of a train, you know. It's very, very frightening. But the Bachelorette said, Bachelor number 1, if you could be any kind of car in the world, what kind of car would you be? I said, used. And I was very, very devastated. Okay, here's a filthy one. Bachelor number 1, if you were my alarm clock in the morning, how would you wake me up? I said, with a big... It's just a very, very bad thing. Anyway, you've been a very nice audience. Thank you very much.
For For 15 years, I've been supplying the radio airways of America with my weekly musical feast of mad music and crazy comedy. And tonight it will be my great pleasure to bring you a small but sumptuous sampling from my show. Our first guest, like me, is a big fan and collector of vintage 78 records. In fact, he's going to sing a song that originally came out on a 78 and can be found on its original form on my album, Dr. Demento Presents the Greatest Novelty Records of All Time. Ladies and gentlemen, Dementites and Dementoids, here's Uncle Floyd singing out.
Here's a little song titled, I'm My Own Grandpa. Now, you got to pay attention. I'm my own grandpa. I'm my own grandpa. It sounds funny, I know, but it really is so. Oh, I'm my own grandpa. Many, many years ago when I was 23, I was married to a widow who was pretty as could be. This widow had a grown-up daughter who had hair of red. My father fell in love with her, soon they two were wed. This made my dad my son-in-law and changed my very life. Cause my daughter was my mother, cause she was my father's wife. To complicate the matter, even though it brought me joy, I soon became the father of a bouncing baby boy. My little baby then became a brother-in-law to dad, and soon became my uncle, though it made me very sad. For if he was my uncle, then that also made him brother of the widow's grown-up daughter, who of course was my stepmother. Father's wife then had a son who kept them on the run, and he became my grandchild because he was my father's son. My wife is now my mother's mother, and it makes me blue, because although she is my wife, she's my grandmother too. If my wife is my grandmother, then I'm her grandchild, and every time I think of it, it nearly drives me wild. For now I have become the strangest case you ever saw. As husband of my grandmother, I am my own grandpa. I'm my own grandpa. Everybody! I'm my own grandpa. It sounds funny, I know, but it really is so. Oh, I'm my own grandpa. Hey! Yes, sir!
And now it's time for a Demented video, and one of the first comedy videos ever made. This song made its original debut on the Dr. Demento radio show in 1978, and to this day remains one of the 5 most requested Demented discs of all time. Here's Barnes and Barnes with their musical gourmet delight, Fish Head.
Fish head, roly-poly fish head, eat them up, yum. Fish head, roly-poly fish head, eat them up, yum.
In the morning, laughing happy fish head. In the evening, floating in the soup. They can't play baseball, they don't wear sweaters, they're not good dancers, they don't play drums. Roly-poly fish heads are never seen drinking cappuccino in Italian restaurants, Gloria and the women.
Yeah. Fish Heads, featuring Bill Mooney and Robert Hamer. Yes, that's the same Bill Mooney who used to be the little boy on Lost in Space. And now Nowadays, he and his partner write and sing some of the most wonderfully demented songs. Our next guest wrote his first song in 1928, a little tune called The Bums Rush. In 1930, he wrote a one called The Sweet Violets, which scandalized middle American jukeboxes for several decades. In 1946, he wrote the song which would become a major hit on the Dr. Demento radio show in 1973 and would eventually sell 500,000 records 27 years after it was originally released. Here he is with his all-time classic, Shaving Cream, that young man from Brooklyn, Mr. Benny Bell.
I have a sad story to tell you. It may hurt your feelings a bit. Last night when I walked into my bathroom, I stepped in a big pile of shaving cream. Ain't I say clean? Shave every day and you'll always look clean. A gypsy once told me my fortune in a basement where candles were lit. My friends say that she's full of wisdom, but I know that she's full of shaving cream. Be nice and clean, shave every day and you'll always look clean. I once saw a funny performance of a Romeo-Juliet skit. When Juliet said, "Wherefore art thou?" he replied, "I am taking a shave cream. Be nice and clean, shave every day and you'll always look."
My Christmas tree, it is so gorgeous, so brightly and brilliantly lit. And under that tree are my presents, yes, boxes and boxes of shaving cream. Be nice and clean, shave every day and you'll always look keen. All right, take it away.
I got it. A baby fell out of a window. You think that her head would be split. But good luck was with her that morning, 'cause she fell in a barrel of shaving cream. Be nice and clean, shave every day and you'll always look clean.
And now, folks, my story is ended. I think it is time I should quit. If any of you feel offended, stick your head in a bucket of shaving cream. Be nice and clean, shave every day and you'll always look clean.
Benny Bell. Well, that's a little bit of dementia for you, my television friends. Just a taste of the mad music and crazy comedy like I play on the Dr. Demento radio show, heard every week on the Westwood One radio network. Yes, my friends, novelty records have not disappeared. They've just become what I like to call a little demented. And I've enjoyed sharing some of the very best with you tonight. You've heard the word. Everybody's heard about the bird. Don't you know that the bird is the word? And don't forget to stay demented!
We'll be back with more Demento after this. Some of Comedy Tonight's guests fly on Region Air, the luxury...
We're going to be back to talk with Dr. Demento in a little while, but first, back with us tonight is the silver-throated songbird of Manhattan, Rick Aviles. Come on, Rick.
Thank you. How you doing? It's good to be back. Yes, I am a native New Yorker, and I'm going to tell you something that might come as a shock to you. In New York, we do have a few people that sell marijuana. I know you're in shock at that, but what amazes me is the way different ethnic groups sell it. Like young black marijuana dealers, the hats are twisted to the side, and then you get like that marijuana walk that You, I got that herb, y'all. Once in a while, you even get a poem. You, I got the herb that'll make you swerve. Smoke that'll make you choke. Pass me by, you gonna blow your heart. Even have Jewish marijuana dealers.
So what do you mean it's not announced? That's announced. So all of a sudden I'm a crook already, eh? You get it from me instead of that house on next door.
Rastafarians, a spleef joint the size of my dreadlock. Puerto Ricans, they sell marijuana cautiously. Don't give me the money, man. Don't give me the money. Give it to him, to him. Not to me, to the guy with the pointy toes. To him, to him. Yeah. What gets me, though, about being from New York is you start to compare things. Like, I went down south, and I was in shock at the way Southern guys ask women to dance. Saying you're standing over by the bar. Want to dance with me? Huh? No? Shot. Not New Yorkers. Like, hey, you, over there, hey. You want to dance? You want to shake it up? No, I hope your dog dies. You skank, get out of here. And we all step in doo-doo. Everybody steps in doo-doo. Snobs do the most. They have their nose in the air, they can't see it. They walk down the street.
I'm better than you are. I'm better than you.
Splush. Then their necks lock. They won't look down. So I walk up to them as a concerned citizen, and I say, you've made contact.
Rick, thank you very much. Now, I want to congratulate Dr. Demento on the 15th anniversary of his radio show. That's really good.
Well, thanks, Bill.
Is it true that in the process of all the things that happened over 15 years that you discovered Weird Al Yankovic?
Oh, yes, indeed. When he was 16 years old, he had a song called School Cafeteria, and then after he graduated from high school, as valedictorian of his class, by the way, went to college, and in the men's room of the student radio station sang a song called My Bologna. That was his first real big hit. And I've
that a
seen
big
his
favorite
career,
of yours?
Yes, indeed. I've seen his career grow and grow in stages from there, and I've also seen his attire change, because when he first came up to see me in the studio, he wore a suit and tie. I don't think he's worn one since.
Well, last time. Well, listen, also something else very special. Dr. Demento presents the greatest novelty records of all time. And you're going by decades here. Look at this, Mark. Wow. You got the 40s, the 50s, the 60s. What do you think of some of this stuff?
Whoa.
Mark said
Itsy bitsy, teeny weeny yellow polka dot bikinis on this?
Yeah, all the big ones.
Monster Mash, great song. They're coming to take me away, ha-ha.
They're still laughing at the title.
They got Christmas songs here.
Oh, yes, we got a special Christmas volume. This is definitive dementia, definitive comedy and novelty. Everything you need.
How many in this, in its entirety?
It's about 75 tunes on the
It's
6
got
records.
the Born to Run of Christmas songs here. Grandma got run over by a reindeer.
Oh, yes, indeed.
You got them all.
You know what I remember that I really liked back in the 50s? A song, Stranded in the Jungle. Anybody remember that? I do.
Back in the States.
That's Stranded. When we were kids, down in my basement, we had a tape recorder, and we took that, and we used parts of it, and then we had our own, we added like whole stories to it. How'd you get involved in doing what you're doing? You're just a giant fan of this all your life?
Well, my folks had a lot of records, and the phonograph was always my favorite toy, and it just went from there. It all started when I was 4, and Dad brought home a Spike Jones record, and then I became the student disc jockey at my high school and went to college radio, and then underground radio back in the hippie days, and that's where the Dr. Demento show started. It just grew like Topsy. Now
Like
all over
Topsy.
the country, yes.
Well, speaking of that, what do you see there that...
ASPCA might be on you here. My dead dog Rover, dead skunk, and dead puppies all on the same side.
Yeah, well, you have to...
Whoa, now you're
You have to listen to that song. That's Dead Puppies Aren't Much Fun. Now, only a pervert could disagree with that.
We'll be back for more fun right after this.
place to be for the Barbara Mandrell.
Promotional fee. Thanks to our guests, Dr. Demento, Uncle Floyd, Taylor Negron, Benny Bell, Rick Aviles, and of course our announcer, Mark McEwen. Thank you all very, very much. Benny, one question we were wondering about. Benny, who was that lady we saw you with last night?
That was no lady. That was my brother. He walks like that.
He's still hot. And Dr. Demento, how about you? Do you tell jokes at all?
No, I'm the straight man for the records that I play.
People still, are they still producing as many comedy records as
Oh, yes, indeed. You hear them on my show.
All right, Doctor.
It's where they come.
I want to end with Floyd.
Yeah.
I love the stuff you do, you know,
Good.
and every time you've been on, you've done a little song. Today you did a song. Is there anything you could take us out with, like any final thoughts or something like that?
Well, I'm going to do I got a big contract signed with Columbia.
Right.
Yeah, they're going to send me 12 albums starting in January.
How about a song? How about a song on the way out?
One of Benny's songs.
A Benny song? Do it.
If you want to have lots of class, if you want to have lots of pizzazz, go to work, you jerk. Stop hanging around. That's a Benny. That's one of Benny's big hits.